Hi, and thanks for joining me, and a big welcome to any new subscribers. It's good to have you along. I hope you're all having a good week and are keeping safe and well. Tomorrow is National Census Day, and I thought that would be an interesting topic to talk about. So nothing to do with boating on this occasion. I did do some family research into my ancestry about 15 years ago. It got very involved and I sort of gave up, but I'm going to talk about that in this video. It's something slightly different to discuss, and as I say, with tomorrow being National Census Day, I thought it would be of interest to you. At the end, I'll tell you about a couple of events that are happening next week. Have a look, see what you think. Every 10 years we have a national census, and that census is to take place on Sunday the 21st of March. The census was first started in 1801, and at that time it was just collecting a head count, really, how many people were in the country. But from 1841 onwards they have collected additional data about households, the makeup, the ages, that sort of thing. And in more recent years they're collecting an even wider band of data about people. The form has to be filled in on the 21st of March, but you are able to fill it in sooner if you know exactly what conditions will be existing on that day. And this is the form I've been sent, with some explanatory notes about it. This was sent to me here at the marina. You are given a special 16-digit number that gets you into the system so that you can complete what is needed. I have just done it actually, and there's quite a lot of questions. These include age, gender, recent work, whether you're retired or not, whether you look after someone, where you live, who's in your household, what ages are they. It's quite a broad-ranging thing. It also covers religion and various other aspects. So it's a very detailed look at your life and those of your family. The last census was carried out in 2011, and in Yelvertoft in 2001 the population was 821, and in 2011 the population had reduced to 764. Surprising that in a way, isn't it? That's quite a big drop in terms of percentage. I should say that the current census is being undertaken in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. The census that would have happened in Scotland has been put back a year because of COVID, so that will now take place in March 2022. Census records are kept private for 100 years. And after that time they are available to the public. I'm just going to read from this. Historic census forms from 1841 to 1911 are available to view free on site at the National Archives in Kew. They are also available online from the National Archives official partners and ancestry.co.uk and findmypast.co.uk, who have transcribed records and loaded them onto their websites. So you can search at a cost. I have some typical entries. This is from 1901 I have other entries as well. This one is 1891 and this one is 1881. One of the problems when you're searching records of this nature is that these are handwritten, and when you go online and do a search on your family, you're obviously going to put in your family surname as a starting point. The trouble with that is that someone has to interpret what is on here and digitize it. And if it's not written clear on here, then when you search on the correct name, you may not find it. You then have to search on variants of that name. The surname of my great-grandfather is Vallerine, Vallerine, which seems quite straightforward. But when I look on here, it looks as though it's been written as Vallerini. So probably when I was searching for this many years ago, I didn't find it. You have to be very patient. And when you pay to search, you buy tokens or vouchers or whatever they call it. And a lot of the data is kept in quarters, and within those quarters things are kept alphabetically, A to C, D to F, G to Y, that sort of thing. And you can spend a lot of money just searching for records, and then you get long lists of things that you have to go through. It is very hard work. I expect at the time I would have searched on names such as Vallerin, Vallerini, all sorts of combinations to try and find what I was looking for. And I did of course succeed, because it is quite clear to me that on the census form it looks like Vallerini. This one of 1901 is interesting. I can see my great-grandfather and his wife listed here. They had 10 or 11 children, I'm not too sure exactly how many, but the two that I was familiar with, which are the youngest two on here, was Susanna, who was 10, my grandmother, and Eliza, her youngest sister, who was 7 at the time. The reason I can't determine how many children were in the family is that the census form records the people in the household. Any older or elder children that have moved away and are in a different household would be recorded separately. So I can only look at the census record that I have. I do actually have some notes that I typed out in about 1972 when my grandmother and great aunt were still alive. And I've typed grandmother's parents had 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. Now on the 1901 census there are 8 children quoted. So 2 of these children were obviously not living in that household. And on here there are 5 girls' names and 3 boys' names. I am aware that there was a James as well, so he would be the 9th. And I'm not sure offhand who the 10th was. I have got a lot of records here, but I'm not sure if I actually know. James William Vallerine died of wounds on the 30th of September 1917. The theatre of war is recorded as France and Flanders, and he was in what looks to me like the Northern Regiment. When I actually discovered this record about his death, this was about 15 years ago, I was actually quite moved. I hadn't expected that, I have to say. He did have a wife and a small daughter, and I was sort of quite overcome, I suppose, and quite surprisingly, it does affect you, even with people you don't know, you've never met. It was very sad for me, I have to say, very sad. I have actually found some more details on James, who died in 1917. This is taken from the 1901 census. I did say he was married. At that time, in 1901, he was 25. His wife was called Clara. She was 24. And they had a daughter who was 6 months old. That was in 1901. And that research was done in 2006. Many years ago, I'm going back 12 to 15 years, I did do some research on the family line, and it's hard going. And I did make contact with other people both in the UK and in particular someone in Australia who had done research, and I was told by one of the persons I was in touch with that they'd gone back into the 1700s and not found when the French connection came over to England. It's hard work, very interesting I think to know your family history, but it's so time consuming that I rather gave up. I did mention contact with someone in Australia just now, and I have actually found it. It was on the 27th of January 2008. And in these times of social media, when we're all getting in touch with each other, I don't think I'll be betraying any confidences if I say now who that person was and what was said. So this message came from someone in Melbourne, and it was from Antonia Harrison, although it was signed off as Tony, T-O-N-I, Durrant. So this person could well be related to me, or is related to me. And what she actually said was, "Good to hear from you. More Vallerines are always welcome." Then she says that she's descended from Susanna Margaret Vallerine, 1800. She was the daughter of John Vallerin, Noe, and Esther Saubert. Your great-grandfather, i.e. my great-grandfather Joseph, was the fourth child of 8 of Peter Fremont Vallerine, born in 1809, and Mary Ann with an unknown name. Peter was the youngest of 9 and my third great-grandmother Susanna's brother. So as far as I know, Joseph, 1837, had 2 children, Edith and Joseph, with Sarah Brett, and 9 with his second wife Esther Huntley. And Esther Huntley was my grandmother's mother, and Joseph was her father, and he married twice. So it's quite interesting. This is the first time I've looked at any of this paperwork in about 13 years. As I say, I found it very time consuming, and other people had done a lot of research, far better research than I had done, and I think at the time I was busy with other things, both personal and business wise, and I just let it slide. I do have viewers in Melbourne, and you never know, there might be someone out there that I'm related to. I do actually have a couple of cousins in Sydney. They would be about my age, possibly a little bit older. They have they're two lady cousins. They have families of their own, obviously, but I've never been to Australia, and contact with them is by the annual Christmas card, and that's about it. So my surname Davies is Welsh, and in Wales it is the second most common name, and in England it's the 8th most common. So to research my family history on that side is very complex, and you need to look at a lot of records, and you also need to have some good starting points, and I don't have those, so I've not really done much research on that side. On my mother's side we have some Irish in us, but again I don't have any inroads into doing that sort of search. So basically I've given up. And I hope you like that little explanation about the census and what's going to happen on the 21st of March. I hope you enjoyed that look at some of my family history. One thing I forgot to mention is about the name Valérine. The last person in my line, as it were, to have that name was my great aunt. She never married, so the name died with her in the early 1980s. Great shame, but that's the way it is, so nothing one can do about that. I'm sure that anyone out there with the name Valérine must somehow be related to me, so time will tell whether anyone comes forward. I did mention a couple of announcements for next week. The first one, which you should all know about hopefully by now, is that Forgo Narrowboating is live again on Tuesday the 23rd of March at 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and we look forward to as many of you as possible joining us for that. I have put a link on Facebook, and I will be promoting that more as Tuesday approaches, so look out for that link. You can set yourselves a reminder. Our special guest on this occasion is Robbie Cumming. He has his own YouTube channel, and you may also know him from the BBC 4 series Narrowboat Diaries, which is well worth the view, and that is available on iPlayer. The other exciting news is that the Crick Boat Show is being held next week. It's being held virtually between the 24th and 28th of March. Now if you want to take part in that, if you do a Google search on Crick Boat Show 2021, I'm sure you'll come up with how to apply for tickets. It's all done online. You can apply for tickets and then you'll be sent the instructions as to how to go about it. So if you're interested, please follow that one through. I think that's all for now. I hope you're all keeping safe and well, looking after yourselves, your friends and families. Many thanks for watching. As I speak, it is about to rain again, so I'll be scurrying inside in a moment. If you haven't yet done so, please do click the little bell and subscribe. I should say, please subscribe and click the little bell. If you do that, you'll get notifications of future videos. Meanwhile, take the utmost care. Until we meet again, all the very best. Bye for now.